Hello everybody, my name is Matthew Carson and today I want to talk to you about a serious issue that affects millions of people globally every year. It's a dangerous issue that can infect anybody. You, your friends, your family, your loved ones. I'm talking about, of course, the Flu-bisoft. The Flu-bisoft is a degenerative disease which affects millions of people and causes them to rush en masse, buying the latest Ubisoft titles only to remember that they are exactly the same as every other Ubisoft title to come out. Symptoms of the Flu-bisoft include a desire to climb radio towers, the need to liberate fortresses from enemy forces, open-world sandboxes with a boring checklist to make your way through. Sometimes your friends or loved ones might express an opinion that Assassin's Creed Syndicate was truly an evolution of the series, or that Watch Dogs was an underrated gem. You may also be stricken with the desire to actually play Far Cry Primal. If you see this, it is clearly a symptom of the Flu-bisoft, and seek medical attention immediately because you might have an extreme case. And God forbid, if you know anybody who bought that $1,500 Assassin's Creed movie ticket, they might be terminal. It's difficult to raise awareness for such a prevalent disease in our society, but the Flu-bisoft can be stopped by playing creative games and not buying into the same junk every single year. A cure is out there, and I believe that together we can find a way to beat the Flu-bisoft. CD Projekt Red, Bethesda Game Studios, they're working on a cure right now. So in these trying times, in the great depths of Flu-bisoft season, reach out to your loved ones and tell them not to pre-order the next goddamn Assassin's Creed game. They need our care and our support. Thank you very much for listening, and you all have a great one.
So I'm thinking there might be something wrong with me, because The Division is a game I really find myself enjoying. It is essentially a game built on the Ubisoft formula, a sandbox, open world, with an ever-increasing, list of stuff to do. But for some reason I'm really enjoying that, unlike a lot of other Ubisoft games that I really didn't enjoy, like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Watch Dogs, and like a lot of other ones. I might need to call a doctor. For those of you who have been living in a box since before E3 2013, The Division is the latest edition of Ubisoft the video game. An open-world sandbox game with a number of arbitrary activities splattered around the map in a seemingly random fashion, in which you play as some guy on an island fighting psychopaths, who I guess is part of a secret organization who try to maintain order. In this edition, you play as a member of the Division, yet another organization that would make the people at InfoWars get erections that could be potentially life-threatening. A secret organization of sleeper agents who have been activated during times of crisis to ensure the continuity of the United States government. Like Assassin's Creed Black Flag before it, though, there is a big break from the usual Ubisoft formula this time. The Division is largely an online game. I'd call it almost a pseudo-MMO RPG, a single-player game with a lot of MMO elements splattered throughout, which makes it actually quite a bit more interesting and compelling than its more vanilla brethren of late. So you're activated because Smallpox is on something of a reunion tour, and like the now 40-something Spice Girls reunion tour, nobody asked for it, and now thousands of people are dead. No, none of you look dead inside at all. So you start the game in Brooklyn, with what is possibly the worst character customization system I have ever seen. I mean, I fiddled with this thing for 10 minutes and I couldn't find a way to change my character's face. So now I'm a boy just hitting puberty, sporting a beard that'd probably be better suited hiding a nutsack than a chin. But before I knew it, my puberty-stricken 14-year-old in an adult body is on his way to save Manhattan Island. But I was quickly introduced to the first reason why I actually kind of enjoy this game. The gunplay is actually fun. Ubisoft has existed in a really strange world when it comes to gunplay in their games. I mean, the Far Cry series has always had really great and fun and satisfying shooting, while Watch Dogs had this really boring, unsatisfying shooting. And I kind of was expecting the Watch Dogs gunplay would make a return, but instead we get this system that kind of feels like it was ripped right out of Gears of War, You move from cover to cover, you can blind fire, shoot around corners, pop out to take enemies out. Really, the only thing that's missing here is the horrifying mutant-looking giant men. But maybe that's why all the characters wear like 8 coats. It's actually pretty on point. The guns feel like they have weight even when they're equipped with suppressors. They sound great and powerful, and you don't really encounter that many bullet sponge enemies outside of bosses and the enemies on hard mode missions. Even then, with a bit of optimization, you're mowing down these hard mode enemies like they're nothing. Which brings me to the other half of the combat, the dudes on the receiving end of your bullets. Enemies in the Division come in 4 delicious flavors, somewhat not unlike Destiny. Basic enemies come in the form of rioters, disorganized masked dicks who go down like liquored prom dates. Next up, you've got the cleaners, a bunch of blue-collar Joes with flamethrowers content on burning smallpox out by incinerating anyone infected. I was actually shocked by how much I was excited by this faction. I was like, you mean there won't just be dudes with guns? We can have some interesting fights? And then Ubisoft shocked me again by making the other 2 factions just dudes with guns. The Rikers are a group of escaped convicts who basically seem like rioters with better weapons, and the LMB, or Last Man Battalion, is a private military group led by a dude named Bliss. They're basically doing the same thing as you. In fact, beyond factors with loose connections to the main story, it's not really explained why you and the Last Man Battalion are fighting. You seem to both want to protect civilians and keep people alive and shoot the crazy people with guns. I don't get it. Despite 3 of these factions basically being pretty boring dudes with guns, they do have some interesting factors to deal with when you're fighting them. For example, the Last Man Battalion use specialists more often, and their specialists are more diverse. These are things like heavy machine gunners or medics, while the Rikers seem to entirely lack fear and self-preservation instincts, and will run out of cover to try and flank you, which is hilarious when they come down with a sudden case of 43 AK bullets to the face, but irritating when sometimes those 43 AK bullets to the face aren't fatal. From here we get to what the game actually does, and it is basically another edition of Ubisoft, the video game. You have an open world with a wide variety of stuff to do, which generally boils down to the same couple of missions, repeated about 15 times for each zone you wander through. Complete a set of missions in that zone for supplies and experience points, occasionally complete a main mission in the zone in your level bracket, and move on. Zones are scattered with the Ubisoft requisite billion collectible items though, and these are somewhat actually interesting like they were in Watch Dogs. You got phone conversations, incident reports, officers, echoes which can provide you with a reconstruction of events. All of this causes you to be drawn into the world, and they do it really well. I actually found myself seeking out these collectibles for one of the first times I've ever done that in an Ubisoft game. One of the first times since Gathering Sea Shanties and Black Flag. And these stories flesh out the world building. And that world that they build is actually one that feels real. You can tell a lot of passion went into every aspect of building this virtual New York City. It is dark and haunting and empty. It's spectacular graphically and incredibly detailed with all sorts of little things. Like, they even animated dogs taking a dump in the streets and pissing on things. Like, that is detail right there. The world's design graphically is gorgeous. The empty streets of New York are imbued with a haunting atmosphere. The emptiness of the streets gets under your skin. The sounds of silence set on a backdrop of empty buildings tells stories of its own. It's atmospheric. It's hauntingly real. This is complemented by all those little lore pickups and really paints a beautiful picture of the grim darkness of this post-outbreak New York. And it's incredibly well done, with a level of detail that I would probably more attribute to CD Projekt Red or Bethesda than Ubisoft. Good job, Ubisoft. You've made many open worlds in the past, but now you've finally made one I'd call immersive. Now, there are a lot of other systems in the Division that make it interesting, but they're not quite as awesome as the other stuff I've talked about. Things like crafting, which is kind of eh. Operations, which are kind of like Destiny's raids, and the fantastic customization system, which basically ensures that no two players look alike, despite terrible character creation. But what really matters here is the game's grand social experiment, the Dark Zone. So for those of you who don't know, which means you managed to dodge the massive Ubisoft hype train, which is pretty impressive, the Dark Zone is a walled-off section of the world filled with really tough enemies who drop the best gear in the game. But it's also a free-for-all. Anyone can attack anyone, anytime, kill them, and take their stuff. Unlike most of the game, multiplayer isn't optional here. You're always in the Dark Zone with other people. It's similar in some ways to EVE Online's low-sec, though somehow even more insidious. The Dark Zone likes to employ a lot of coercive techniques to try and convince you to shoot your friends. One example that I would totally never use on you, don't worry, you're safe. You can only carry 9 items in the Dark Zone, and that's your maximum. You have to extract them via helicopter in order to claim them. If you die, you drop them. So there's a temptation to shoot others at extraction sites. If you're quick and careful, you can extract your loot and then extract theirs to claim it for yourself. To pose just one example of something I certainly would never do to you. Unrelated note, but hey, does this barrel look weird to you?
They're very different.
Of course, attacking other players flags you as a rogue, which causes you to pop up on the local minimap, and can toss a reward on your head for players who kill you. This only lasts a few minutes, and if you manage to survive the entire duration, you get additional rewards. So the Dark Zone tries to coerce you into killing your friends. It's kind of a high-risk, high-reward game of who on this helipad is a sociopath.
That's all.
And it works, not just in turning mild-mannered people into psychotic killers, but also it's a fun, tense, and great way to distribute the game's highest level rewards.
God damn it! Just run.
So how's it going?
Yeah, sorry. My bad, actually. Misfire. I'm fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
Warning. Agent on your team is down. Requires assistance.
Despite falling into every Ubisoft trap in the book, Massive has managed to make this the first Ubisoft game since Black Flag that I've played all the way through. They somehow managed to take the same tropes and make them at least somewhat interesting, by implementing new cool systems around them to make the game actually fun. See, Ubisoft, and this is something of an impassioned plea from one gamer to one monolithic game publisher, but this kind of thing is why Black Flag is regarded as a great Assassin's Creed game. It did something different. Your algorithm isn't broken. People like completing a checklist of tasks on a map. You've perfected the art of making a structured open world. Even I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's when the games become defined by that algorithm over the game itself that it becomes bad or bland. And it's when those games are repeated ad nauseum until they simply cannot be fun anymore that they stop being interesting. When you put out The Division, you tried something new. It was multiplayer, it had the Dark Zone, like some weird psychology going on in there. It was kind of a pseudo-MMO, it has an end game. But those ideas are what make it great, despite the fact that it's built on a foundation that is exactly like Far Cry 4, and exactly like Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That doesn't matter so much when you have cool and interesting ways to interact with that algorithm, which The Division does in spades. It's why I really enjoy it. So don't take away that The Division was the best-selling game you've ever had because it was The Division, and copy-paste The Division 40 times. It was the new ideas that make that game great, not the new ideas of what was put in, but the new idea itself. Innovation. New ideas brought to a genre that was getting pretty stale. Never thought I'd be tired of open world games. I love open world games. The Fallout series, the Witcher series, they all entertain me to this day. So let's keep doing that. Make open world games great again. And I think The Division is a good step in that direction. Just hold true to the course and don't spoil it by copy pasting the game a million times. It's not the new ideas you put into the game that matter. It's the entire concept of new ideas you should take away from The Division. Hello everybody, and thank you very much for watching my video on The Division, a game I am actually still playing to this day, which is really weird for Ubisoft games. That doesn't really happen for me. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It means a huge amount to my channel, of course, and us here at the Orange Chatter, we're just trying to be more awesome for you guys. I'm sorry this video was a little bit late. I've had a couple of things come up in real life which have slowed down my video production for the next probably week or so, but as of next week, I should be back to 2 videos a week, which will be awesome. I'm actually kind of really stoked to get back to working on videos a lot. But, yeah, sorry about that. Today's video is brought to you by JWAC. If you ever need somebody to get shot in the dark zone, call on JWAC. He's really good at making your entire group go rogue. Thank you, JWAC. You are the best. Special thanks. On the side note, thank you very much for watching as well. You there, not JWACs, you are just as important and just as awesome. And you all, of course. Have a great one.
So say, fuck, I can't talk for shit, I'm the worst.